thank you again for registering for the SEO cheat sheet. Hopefully you should have this in your inbox already. If not, then it's probably going to be in your spam box. So make sure you check there first before obviously dismissing that you've not received it. You might need to, if it is in your spam box, then it might be worth whitelisting our email address just to make sure that obviously if we send you any more information, any more training courses, that you get them directly to your inbox. Okay, so the SEO cheat sheet, what is it? So the whole concept of this is to really give you almost like a checklist that you can apply to every single web page on your website to make sure you've got all the elements in place for Google to be able to understand what your website's about, what the topics are on your page, and the relevancy of the keywords. So SEO as a whole is broken down into three core areas. So you've got on-site SEO, technical SEO, and off-page SEO. And all these work together really to tell Google how authoritative you are on any given subject. Now this cheat sheet, the elements of the sheet itself, we apply these to every single one of our customers, and we get really good results. Just to give you a few different examples, just while we're on. So if I look for solicitors Ormskirk, so straight on the top, this is our client here. And as you can see, they're number one for their local ranking. Another example could be Help On. So again, these are going up against some pretty stiff competition, but here we are at number 3. So we're literally in the top 3. So this is where you're going to get the majority of your traffic. It's great to obviously rank number 1, but it's quite difficult depending on the keyword that you're targeting. But this is just really an example of some of the work that we've done. And just to show you, this is relevant. This is what will help with your rankings. Obviously, there's quite a lot more elements to get involved to get in the top 3 in terms of kind of backlink infrastructure and stuff. But at least our cheat sheet will set you on the right path that you need to go down. So going back to this, what I'll do, I'll run through each of the individual elements, just do a brief explanation of what each of them is. And then, yeah, I'll leave it to you guys to obviously update your website as needed. So we'll start with on-page optimization. So your target keywords. I'm not really going to go into any keyword research tools and things like that at the moment. There's tons of them out there. If you just go on Google and search for like keyword research tools, for instance, then you'll get lots of things like Ubersuggest, Google Keyword Planner. There's tons of them, Ahrefs, SEMrush. All these different tools will be able to give you quite a range of keywords. And what you want to be looking for is, if you're very new, then you want to be looking at long tail keywords. If your site's under 3 years old, if it's over 3 years old, then you may stand a better chance of competing against kind of short terms, similar to what I've just shown you there in terms of health plan and solicitors Ormskirk. Obviously, they're quite competitive in their area, but the guys have been around a long time. And we've built the SEO over a period of years. It's not something that's taken 5 minutes to achieve. So what I would suggest is you select one main primary keyword that each of your pages targets, and then 3 to 5 like synonyms, variations of a keyword. So if we choose a quick example, say cheesemaker, for instance, it's a bit of a random keyword, but if we use that as a kind of basis, that would kind of give you a bit of an example. So if you had a website about cheese and cheese making, for instance, then one page might be about a cheesemaker. So your main primary keyword would be cheesemaker, and then your 5 synonyms are something like cheese making in the UK, how to make cheese, and basically synonyms and variations on that theme. And then what that does, it's called keyword clustering, and what it does is set a relevancy and a topic for the page that Google understands. Obviously, the more information you have on the page, the better, and the more detail you go into from a first-person perspective, and that kind of falls in line with Google's EEAT methodology. So once you've chosen your target keywords, then you want to look at where you're going to include them on the page itself. So there's 3 core areas that you really need them to be, and you need it to be in your URL. You need it to be in your title tag, and you need it to be in your H1 tag. So these don't have to be exactly the same. They can be slight variations, but it's better to use on what they call an exact match. So within the URL, for instance, for We Are Web, my business, it would be We Are Web /web design. And then the page would be about web design. And that's kind of what you want to emulate with your website. So you want your kind of business name in terms of the root domain / a page or a service page. And then that service page being the specific keyword. You want to make sure that it's human readable, and you want to avoid any kind of numbers or characters or strange things going on in the URL as much as possible. So that brings us to the title tag. So going back to our example here, just to kind of briefly explain what the title tag is. So that is basically this line, and then this is the meta description underneath. Now you define these usually within the kind of back end of the website. So within the page that you create, there's normally a title field, a meta description field. So what you want to do is make sure, obviously, that you've got your target terms or variants of those target terms in both your title tag and then within your meta description. I say these are not visible on the front end of your website usually. It's normally defined specifically in the code element, but most website builders will have these areas to put those in. Secondary is your H1 tag. So once you've got your keyword in the URL, a title tag, maybe once in your meta description is usually useful, and then in your H1 tag. So kind of going back to this page, if I go onto the website itself, you can see here we've got the keyword in the or the keywords even in the main H1 title tag. Now, just to quickly explain what H1 is. So within the actual code in the page, the actual text itself is wrapped in certain tags, and what it does is tells Google the level of importance of what the content is on the page. So H1 is basically a heading tag. So H1 is the highest level, so it's one of the most important on the page. Then you have H2s, H3s, H4s, H5s, H6s. Each one, starting from top to bottom, it has a level of importance and sets the topic of the page itself. So H1 being the most important, H6 being the least important. So what you want to do is kind of sprinkle your keywords throughout each of the heading tags. We usually only use up to about H4s. Beyond that, it's useful, but only in given circumstances. You just want to make sure for our means and for getting up and running that it's in the H1, H2s, yes, and H3s. And if you've got a sprinkle of the keywords, don't overdo it and just put it in every single one. Just kind of sprinkle it and just maybe 2 or 3 on the page if you've got 6 H2s. And what you're trying to do is make it look natural in the copy itself. So this is obviously the H2. And again, it just goes back to what I was talking about then in terms of these headings. Now, the way you want to structure your page is you want the most important information at the top with your kind of keywords appearing in the first paragraph ideally. And then again, littered throughout the kind of body copy. So this is the individual blocks or paragraphs within the page itself that are kind of talking about what your service is or product is, or business for that matter. So you want to make sure that obviously you've got a sprinkling of keywords. Don't overdo it and do what they call keyword stuffing, where you've got thousands of your versions of your keyword. So you want to kind of keep a keyword density to around about 2% of your overall copy. If there's a bit of a guide, then obviously you want synonyms in. There are tools out there which will help you optimize the copy itself that you can go and buy. But obviously it's just that little bit of learning curve in terms of learning the tools and how to use them. So then we're on to images. So every image should be relevant in its nature to your copy and your headings. And you should have things like an alt tag on there. So that sits, again, behind the scenes in the code, and it's describing what the image is. The name of the image itself in terms of the file title should also have your keyword in where possible. Or it should be at the very least just descriptive about what the actual image is. So Google can understand it, basically. And then you've got internal links. So the whole concept of all the pages on your website, you want to link each one together, but you only want to link to them in a specific way. So you want to make sure that they're all relevant to each other in terms of creating a topic and gaining topical relevance. Then we're on to technical SEO. So there's a few different things that impact technical SEO. You can add things like schema, which basically is your business details, again, in the code, so you don't see it on the front end, that Google will see and basically index and understand your business alongside all the other profiles that you've got around the internet. So it all kind of links in together in terms of understanding it. They call it the NAP, which is the basically your address and business details. Indexability. So this is the ability for Google to crawl your website and actually understand the content on there. Obviously, if you've got the elements that I mentioned above in there and things like schema in place, then it becomes easier for Google to understand. And the easier it is for Google to understand, the better chance you have got of ranking. It's as simple as that. Okay, and then you've got page speed and core web vitals. So the whole concept of this is really to have the ability to test your website and its performance overall. So Google provides a tool. Obviously, you've got the links to all these different things in the cheat sheet directly, so you can click them and go to the website. Well, Google provides this tool really to allow you to analyze your website and look at the individual details. So if I put in, say, weareweb.com and then run an analysis, what that'll do is go away and it'll have a look at the website and it'll kind of analyze all the different key measurements that Google looks at really in terms of ranking. Obviously, the higher the scores you've got, the better. These are just really a bit of an indication because it will depend on how your website is built. So they kind of work on best practices, but because obviously every website builder is different and every website is different, then you've got to really use it as a kind of bit of a temperature gauge. So this took a little bit of time, but as you can see there, you've got mobile and desktop versions, and then you can have a look at the overall performance. So as is lagging a little bit, and it's probably due to a couple of images that we put on there. So you've got performance, accessibility, best practices, and SEO. So you can see how well optimized your website is. And then it'll give you lots of technical information in terms of how you can actually optimize your website from there. But it's a good measure. It's a good thing to have a look at and analyze and actually look at how people are seeing your website and how optimized it is really for overall. Okay, so going back, then we're on to the offsite SEO. So what I've actually done on the right-hand side of the page is I've just listed the main sites you want to be registered on, because having profiles on these sites will make a big difference, and it sets you up for the setup of your initial backlink infrastructure. So the Google My Business page, that's a must. Google loves Google, so any profiles that you create, you probably want to have YouTube on there as well, actually. That'll link back, but any profiles that you create on Google will love and index far quicker than anywhere else. Authoritative sites like Facebook and LinkedIn, I advise creating business pages on there, again, with your URL linking back to your website. And then we've got a list of top directories. So these are high authority directories and act as a good starting point, really, to create profiles on and to create strong backlinks to your website, which basically gives a thumbs up to Google that you're a legitimate business. And they do have a little bits of verification on some of these sites. So Google knows this and it knows then you're legitimate. So all these elements together, once you've set these up, then these will 100% add to how well Google will understand your website, how authoritative it will see your site, and then in turn improve your search engine rankings, which then will improve your overall traffic, which then will get you more customers. And that's how the dance goes. Hopefully you'll download this and apply this to your website, and you'll see decent improvements. I'm also offering at the moment a strategy session. So I'm offering vouchers below this video that you can claim worth £250 for a 45-minute strategy session with myself. If you want to claim that, obviously just as a token gesture from me, really, for watching this video and taking the time to download our cheat sheet, just click claim the voucher, and then it'll take you through to a booking page where you can book a time slot with myself. And then we can talk through your website, your strategy at the moment, any kind of keywords that you're looking to target and how you could structure it on your website. And I can just give you some tips and hints around what you can actually do, which will, again, give you a little bit more further information than I can include on this video, really. And it'll be specific to yourself and your business. So hopefully I'll look forward to speaking to you then. In the meantime, I wish you every success, and I hope you apply all these elements to your website, because it really will make a difference. I can't emphasize how important it is. And hopefully I shall speak to you soon. Thank you for listening.